And I thought I'd tell you guys a little bit today about what kind of anime are really popular in Japan. I always find it a little strange of what is popular in other countries because it's usually things that are not that popular here, or of course that are kind of old and took a little while to get out into the world, and the time of their popularity has faded here. I know it's changing with the internet and more people kind of being able to provide, fan subs and translations and things like that on YouTube, so you can keep up with the latest and greatest a little faster than you might have had to wait until it appeared on like Adult Swim or something like that. But definitely a lot of fun kind of things to kind of look at of what is popular and what's not. I think the hugest thing right now, of course, in Japan is One Piece. Everybody loves the show, everybody loves the characters, it's crossed, so it's not just for guys, it's for girls too. They find Chopper really cute, so that gives them a reason to watch. And all the really famous actors in Japan all claim to be massive fans of the show, of the anime and the manga, so it's become kind of this huge phenomenon of people really enjoying it. And I think probably the other thing that might be kind of big is Inazuma 11, which is a story, it's like an anime about soccer, and that's pretty popular too. And then there's, your typical kinds of things that are on that are more directed towards girls, that for younger girls, things like we probably equate to like My Little Pony and stuff like that in the States. Stuff like Jewel Pet, Sanrio's Jewel Pet is really popular. And then of course Purikure is really popular. Those kinds of things are always on. As far as like a thing that kind of is a theme that's always around forever, every year, Pokemon, has a movie out every summer usually, and so does Doraemon. So those kinds of kid-based anime are really popular. And then any, big movies that come out, like the Wolf Children movie that came out this summer was really popular. You get occasionally something like that that gets really big. And of course then that translates to other places in the world, so you guys would know about it. But I kind of find it interesting what's popular, in other countries, of course. It was like some things, for example, like, try to think of a good example, like Sailor Moon, of course, is popular with a lot of people. There's a lot of fans for that. It's old though. It's not popular here anymore. That's almost ancient history. And it's weird because not a lot of people have become obsessed about it here. I think the only thing people are really obsessed about here is Gundam and maybe Evangelon. Those are two things that, that are older, but that people are still obsessed about and really follow and know a lot of the hardcore details about. A lot of the other things, they had their time here and they were really popular, but then it's kind of over and done with and we move on to something new. Aside from those few things, oh yeah, and maybe like Pokemon, of course, too. That's something that's, been around for a while. But I don't even know if there's that many people for Pokemon who still really like collect the cards and are diehard freaks about that kind of stuff. That kind of is past. So it's kind of changes and is not always in sync with what I know is popular and common in other countries. So I have some friends sometimes, they tell me, hey, I like such and such, can you find that for me in Japan? I'm like, I've never even heard of that. I don't even know what you're talking about. That's really, are you sure that's Japanese? Because I really don't know some of the things that people are asking for. So I think in that sense it's kind of interesting to think of what gets to be really popular in another country versus what we just maybe enjoy here day to day. I think, there are those kinds of things that cross over and become big everywhere forever. Anything that is from the Ghibli studio, of course, those are always very popular movies and, tried and true, everybody loves those. I think that, makes sense. People are really, really obsessed with those movies here, and so they do kind of stay at the same level of, popularity as you might find in other countries. Disney is popular here, of course. Everybody loves Disney movies. Everybody loves Pixar movies. Everybody likes DreamWorks movies. So those kinds of things are popular here. New movies come out in the States and everybody's really excited to get them here. It takes a really long time for a movie like that to come over here though, because they imagine the audience is primarily children. And because of that, they don't do a subtitle version. They do a whole where they dub over it and do it all in Japanese. So it takes a while to do that, of course. They have to, wait until the movie's released like Brave, when that was released. They had to wait for that to come out, and then they had to go through the whole hassle of translating it and re-recording the whole everything with their new subbed kind of dubbed language over it. And then that finally came out in theaters. So it takes a while for some of that stuff to make it. Whereas other top, Hollywood movies, they come out the same day here. It depends on the cycle of what's popular. Or like Hunger Games, which is finally coming out here. It took forever for that thing to kind of pass through the grapevine of, oh, that's popular in the States, so maybe it should be popular here. A lot of TV dramas from the States are popular and they get brought over here. Really popular ones are Glee and Gossip Girl. It's really popular right now. But it takes a few seasons for them to, because those are also dubbed into Japanese before we watch them. So things have sped up a little bit now, and I think even the cable networks that show the shows maybe are just one season behind now, I would say. But you try to buy like a DVD set and they break down the whole season into like 4 box sets, and each one costs you like $100 practically, so it's really expensive. But those are common things to rent at rental places, but kind of shows what is popular someplace else, and you just assume, well, it's popular there, it should be popular here. Sometimes it's not, and vice versa. So I kind of always find that interesting to kind of watch. I know kids here love Anpanman, they love Doraemon, and for some reason those two things just haven't really like infiltrated their way into Western culture very much. People love Hello Kitty, and people really like Crayon Shin-chan and stuff like that, but some of those standards that are really common here, just you don't see. I know there's some countries that love them, but in general, not near the popularity level that you might see, for example, with something like Purikure or any of the Hello Kitty, Sanrio kinds of things. So, but I'd love to hear, what your guys is. I love the, the contest we did last month and seeing what you guys really like. And if you have any questions about, what might be popular here, sometimes the names are so different. I have to kind of look it up on Wikipedia to find out what some people are talking about. But if you have a favorite and you'd like to know if it's popular here, please feel free to leave a comment in the comment section below. And I'll try to keep you guys updated on any latest trends in the anime world. There's a whole other culture of people who are obsessed with some of those things that, that deal primarily with manga, actually, more than they do with the anime part of things. The manga world and the people who follow that and read those things, methodically, it's a whole separate group of people, and they, do become kind of obsessive about it, and they do know everybody, all the artists, and where they live, and when things get made from a manga into an anime, they know all about that. So there's definitely a culture to that here that mainstream Japanese people don't really know so much about. So but occasionally there will be something that does leak its way into mainstream, of course, and become kind of popular. So